Mancalorians, a Star Wars podcast. I'm Jordan, that's Aaron, and this is episode 10. Woo! We've made it.
I know, yeah. I'm good. We've made episode 10, which means that if we survive this, then our chances of this podcast continuing will be like really high.
Drastically higher. Where did you come across that? I remember you telling me weeks ago.
I don't know. I think when we was looking into doing the podcast, I think I don't know where. I have no idea. I probably came across it on TikTok, to be honest, but I don't know.
I think you just made it up, and it was just like some motivation to make us talk.
It's usually the case. I might have dreamt about it and then somehow thought it was reality, and then it's just stuck with me the whole time. But you know what? It might work. It might be true.
Yeah, it might be true. We're not stopping. We are never stopping. But no, it's a big milestone for us. Obviously, it's something we've never done before. So, yeah, guys, we appreciate everyone who's watched and liked, followed, subscribed, and all that jazz. 10 episodes in, and here's to the next 10 million.
It's the next 10 million.
I've got no glass, mate. But no, just before we break down the last 2 episodes of the Acolyte, we've come to an end. It's a bit sad, but we will get into that in a minute. But yeah, if you are listening to us on Apple Podcast or Spotify, please leave us a review. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Of course, leave your comments in the section below as well. If you're listening to us, or just in general, if you want to get in touch with us, you can do at mancalorians@gmail.com. Don't forget to hit the notification bell on YouTube as well, so you don't miss out any of our content. And as always, all of our links to our socials, etc., the Mancalorians, are all in the descriptions as well. We're in the process of creating our new Discord, which will be up and running over the next couple of weeks. That link will also be in the chat as well with this video and the audio with all the other socials. So yeah, if you want to join us, please do. But yeah, that's probably not going to be for the next couple of weeks. But yeah, it's going to be big. So let's get into the penultimate episode of the Acolyte, episode 7. We return back to the scene of the crime, as it turns out. Brendok. It was a bit like watching episode 3, really, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the episode was episode 3, really, but I liked how they did it. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it was, out of all of the episodes, for me, it's one of the weaker ones. I think I'm just trying to recap everything that happened, and for me, obviously, we were discussing it before, but for me, there's not that many major points in that episode that I can think of.
No, I mean, it tied up quite a few things, I thought. We finally found out, a few things between the twins and what really went down on Brendok, should I say. So that was good. But yeah, should we talk about probably the best scene in the episode, which was we finally got to see a Wookiee Jedi in action. It was Karnaka. We never thought it would be against Jedis. Obviously, we saw in the trailer he was going to fight Torbin. Turns out it was Torbin and Sol. Yeah, I thought it was awesome, to be honest. I thought it was brilliant. What do you think?
Yeah, it was good. I think it was good to see, obviously, the Karnaka fighting, like his brute force, like his brute strength just coming through. Yeah, I thought it was nice. But for me, out of the fights that we've had, it was definitely one of the weaker ones for sure.
Yeah, probably. I think the standard's been so high, though, to be fair. It's probably the weakest duel of all of them, but yeah, I still thought it was really good. Obviously, Karnaka he was possessed by Mother Coral, as it turns out, and the scene just before he approaches Torbin and Sol, he's just like standing there. I love that.
Like a horror film.
Yeah, it's like a horror film. I thought the shot was brilliant, and then he comes walking down, and they're like, "Oh, they're gonna fight. They're gonna fight. He's gonna fight us." Yeah,
I loved how they introduced it when they says to Torben, she's like, well, I can't remember what she says, but Torben's like, it won't work on me. What does he say about he says like he's like basically like blocked his mind. I can't remember what the word he actually used, but I really liked it. And she was like, "It's not you."
Yeah, that was
And it
good.
just appears.
Yeah. Speaking of Torben, did you catch the little Anakin spin that he was doing with his lightsaber as he was fighting all the witches with the bow and arrow things?
Nah.
You not catch the Anakin spin? He was doing all the. Oh man, it was sick. Did you not catch
Maybe
that?
I did. Maybe I did, but I can't remember it, man. It's been 2 weeks.
He had skills for days, that boy. Shame he's dead now, but yeah, that was. He definitely did the Annie spin, 1,000,000%.
Well, when he was blocking them all, when they were all firing from above.
Yeah.
Do.
That was sick. I thought that was sick. That was cool. I was like, oh my god. You know the meme, the Leonardo DiCaprio meme. That was good. That was really good because I think it was the first time we've seen him. We saw Torben with a lightsaber doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I thought that was good. What else?
So no, I think with the episode, like just going back to what we were talking about before, like the episode, obviously it was from the Jedi's perspective of what happened.
Yeah.
I actually thought there was going to be more to it. I thought that we were going to have. I thought Saul's like big reveal, what he's done wrong, was going to be a lot worse for him. Obviously, like character wise, it was bad, but I don't know. Maybe I'm being like kind of my emotions are quite numbed, maybe, because obviously the big point was obviously when he drops the twins.
Yeah, so I agree. I thought something because when we reviewed episode 3, remember I was saying to you at the end of the episode where May had set the place on fire and killed everyone basically. But it turns out that she did. She did set it on fire. But then when the fire started to spread, she was like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. So she didn't intend to like kill everyone and blow the whole place up in the end. That was interesting. And then obviously Sol and Torben went back to what they were. Yeah, so they were all on Brendok, and then they went back. They went to where they live, and Saul kills Anastasia, but it was out of fear. It wasn't out of, oh, I'm gonna kill you if you don't give me the light. It wasn't. Do you know what I mean? At the time, I was in shock a bit, but I thought. And then I was reading some of the comments online after. I was like, why is everyone like saying, "Oh, Saul's this really bad guy"? Like, oh, what a bad Jedi! Yes,
you watch the scene.
He did kill her, but that's because Anastasia tapped into her abilities, and he thought she was going to kill them. But then, as she tapped
into what?
Into her ability. She turned into
her abilities.
Yeah, ability.
Yeah.
And then. What did you think I was saying?
I thought you had some fancy word for the strings of the Force, whatever she calls it.
Oh yeah, can't remember what it is.
Threads.
Thread, yeah. So she taps into ability, and then Saul straight away thought, oh, she's gonna kill us. So he kills her, and then as he stabbed her with his lightsaber, she says, I was going to give you Osha anyway. Like, you didn't need to kill me. But then, why did she tap into her abilities? I don't know. Was she maybe going to try and stop everyone else from attacking Sol and Torben? I don't know. But I can't think of anything.
What does she do, though? Like, when she turns into that black smoke.
Yeah.
What actually was she going to do? Because I thought she did that in fear of her daughter. Like, trying to save her daughter. I don't think she was trying to attack anyone. And if you watch this episode, right?
I think that was Saul's first thought. Oh.
Yeah, of course. Because he'd never seen it before.
So he killed her first before she killed him.
But it's like
he didn't intend to kill them. He didn't. None of them intended to kill anybody. The Jedi didn't intend to kill any of them. But...
No. Well, we don't know that for a fact, because remember our last discussion. Well, if they refused to hand over the kids, what would they have done? Just took them by force.
Yeah.
So, what I was going to say, yeah. So, if you watch this, because I watched it and thought, why has he just done that? You can clearly see that she's just turned into something. You don't know what she's going to do. Why has he done it? But it's shot in slow motion, so his reaction is a lot more slowed, and it looks like real time. If it was real time, he probably didn't done it within like a split second or two. So as soon as she does something, he just reacts. So, excuse me, I just think that maybe people haven't realised how fast it actually happened, because it was shot in slow motion.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there was an old like rumor kind of thing that went about in my workplace, where if someone hits you, you have like a reaction time, which is like 3 seconds. So in those 3 seconds, if you hit somebody back, you're safe. I mean, it's not. If it was true, it's not true no more. But that was what people used to say, right? So realistically, 3 seconds is quite fast. If Sol had like seen her appearing and then just stabbed her, maybe it's just his reaction in those 3 seconds.
That's
just
what
that.
I thought it was, yeah, because he didn't go there intending to kill anyone. I don't think. It was just purely out of fear that he killed her, because he thought she was going to do something to him and to Tobin.
I seen something as well just before I forget, because every time I do this I always forget. And it was a comment on because it's relevant to that episode at the end when they're talking about the council and how they shouldn't tell the council, and they wanted proof that the 2 kids were the virgins, right? They were proof of the virgins, and someone said, well, they have the blood of the 2. I read this the other day. It was like someone's making it out to be a bad point. They have the blood of Osha and May. And I read this 3 days ago, right? So after the finale, they have one blood of one person, one blood of the other person. So they said, why did they need the kids alive? They could have just gone to the council and showed them the blood. But as a disclaimer, in the last episode, Sol explains that they're not 2 separate people. They are the same person. They're exactly the same. Their DNAs are exactly the same. So imagine you turn up to the council, right, with 2 vials of blood, and you go, look at these 2 separate people, and they test them, and you've got that DNA is exactly the same as that DNA. You're gonna look like a fool. So, do you know what I mean? So they had no evidence. Like, there's no evidence that the Virgins was a thing there.
Yeah. Well, that was a nice little segue actually into finding out. Well, actually, no. Just before we touch on that, so Sol kills Adesanya, and then Coral has a. Did she have
a moment?
A bit of a fight with Sol, and then she disappears. She didn't die, and we'll get into that later. But
I don't know if she fought Sol. Was it not Tobin she fought?
I think she swung at him a few times and then disappeared, because the whole place was like being blown up. Yeah. So then, so just before we get to the twins, we said the twins, but they're not. Anyway,
they're just identical people.
Yeah. So then, as May realised what she did, she didn't mean to set the whole place on fire and kill everyone. She comes out and she saw that Sol killed her mum, and Sol shouts and says, "Osha." He thought it was Osha, but really it was May. So then all these years, May has known that Sol killed her mum, but obviously Osha didn't know at that point. Did you know that?
No,
did you know? Do you not remember when he says, he doesn't say May? It's definitely May.
Yeah, it's May.
Yeah, but he shouts out Osha because he thought it was her, but it wasn't.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah,
that makes that. I know we should be touching on this, but that just makes that finale episode like hit even more.
Well, we'll get
The fact that he thought it was her and it wasn't.
Yeah, I know. And yeah, what do you think? Obviously we found out that later that the twins are in fact the same person, just split into two. What are your thoughts on that?
Why not?
Seen it before?
I don't think we've seen it before, but that's twins for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, like, but these are twins made from the threads of time.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting when you see them. I know I'm kind of going slightly off topic onto episode 8, but the fact that they are the same person, they're equally matched. So when you see them fighting, they're literally just like do exactly the same.
Yeah, they're identical.
It was like watching one of those like Will Smith film. He's like a clone from the future or whatever.
Yeah. Just before we get to the finale, who's to blame?
The Matrix.
Who's to blame? Who is to blame for that night? In your opinion?
Oh, that's a hard question to
Because
answer.
remember during the campfire, just before they went, they were talking, and then Torben runs off, thinking, right, I'm going to get the twins, and then we're going to go back, because he was like dying to go home. They've been in Brendot for a few months looking for them or whatever, and then Sol chases him, and then once Sol chases him and finds him where they are at the place, they come up with a plan to like speak to the mothers, try and get the kids basically. So yeah, who takes responsibility then? Indara's obviously in charge. She's the leader. She's the senior Jedi Master there. So who do you think is to blame for that disaster of a night?
Do you not think they all have a part to play in it? Or is that me sitting on the fence?
Yeah, I'm kind of leading to what I think they do, to be honest. But I think as a leader, Indara probably should be the one that should take most of the blame. She's the boss, essentially. So the blame should really be mostly on her. But I actually think they've all got a bit of blame, really.
When I say I'm on about the different factions, I'm talking about like May, for example. Like May started the fire, she should be blamed. Then I'm thinking, well, then the witches technically are going against the Jedi Order. Now this is getting political. Should they be practicing like using the Force in these dark corners of the galaxy, like, or should they not? It depends on what your take is on the Jedi Order, like what you believe to be like the right way about the like Order of the Galaxy. And then if the Jedis weren't there, could they have just stopped the fire? Would the fire have even happened? Do you know what I mean? It's like the butterfly effect, isn't it? It's basically the butterfly effect. I think they all of them played part of it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, to be fair, if the Jedi hadn't turned up looking for the kids or wanted to snatch the kids, basically, then yeah, none of it would have happened. But
if they weren't practicing magic, whatever they want to call it, the Force, it wouldn't have happened. And secondly, if they didn't set the fire, it wouldn't have happened. But I think the Jedi was the main factor in it for sure. I think them turning up is the.
I agree, but do you not remember just before the fight broke out between Saul, Torben, and Asara and the witches? Coral spoke. Oh yeah, because May came before May or just after May set the place on fire. May ran to Coral and said, she said to May, "Oh yeah, the Jedi here, blah blah blah," and she was like,
"Do what must be done."
Yeah, so for me, she provoked the whole thing in a way, as in the whole fight, which ended up in people dying.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Coral, she deliberately did that. So I think she's got to take Coral out of the blame.
I agree. I think she definitely does. Yeah,
Solomon Torbin wouldn't have killed anybody. So I think Coral's got to take a lot of the blame because she deliberately provoked. She was like telling everyone, like, right, get ready, let's do it. Like, we're going into battle. And the Jedi were just, Sol and Torbin were just like, they just wanted to like speak and kind of do things peacefully. But Coral was like ready to go. So part of me thinks Anasea tapped into her abilities because she wanted to like stop the fight from happening or break up the fight as it just started. I don't necessarily think that Anasea was going to do anything to Sol or Torbin, but obviously Sol's first reaction was like, "Oh no, Anasea's about to kill us now." So he stabbed her with a lightsaber, and then obviously things went down. But yeah, can we just quickly talk about Torbin as well? So obviously in the early episodes we find out he died. In present day, he took the Barish vow, so he was basically meditating for like 16 years. And then May killed him because she woke him up, and then he took the poison that she got from Kaimi, aka the Stranger, and then he killed himself. But I still don't understand. After watching the finale, I still don't understand how Torbin could have had that much guilt from that night 16 years ago on Brendok for him to wanting to kill himself. Because yes, there was definitely a part of him to blame, 100%, for what happened that night. But not that much. How did he have that much guilt where he thought, right, yeah, I'm going to kill myself, you're right, I'm sorry we killed your mum 16 years ago, I'm going to kill myself now. Like, if anything, it would have been Sol, because he did the crime. So I still don't understand that. Because for me, Torbin has probably got the least blame out of everyone, to be honest. One of, anyway. So that's my small criticism, should I say, for episode 7. I still don't understand it. What are your thoughts on that?
I think I have to agree, because realistically all he did was like go to the temple. That was all he did.
I mean, yeah, he disobeyed Indara, who was his master. He ran off, and then Sol chased him, but like, for him to like have that much guilt 16 years later, wake himself up or be awakened from the Barish vow, and then agree to take an appointment to kill himself. Like, for me, that would have been understandable if Torbin was 100% responsible for the whole thing and he literally killed everybody. But he didn't kill anyone.
I know.
And he ended up killing himself. Like, how? I don't understand how he could have had that much guilt. Because for me...
Do you not think that maybe he just thought that him going there caused like a lot of things? Because the fire might have started and they could have stopped it and saved everyone, but because he was there, like, everyone started fighting. Like, if the Jedi didn't turn up there and then, bear in mind, he disregarded or disobeyed the order of Indara, turned up, and then all hell broke loose. If he actually, like you're talking about blame, if he actually didn't turn up at that temple, none of them would have gone there. They would have left it. The only reason they all went there was because he jumped on the bike and drove off.
Yeah.
Would you say drive, or would you say hovered, or flied?
Flied? You mean flew?
Flew.
Drove off. I don't know. You're right, because Indara spoke to the High Council, and she was told that the twins, or Osha, couldn't be trained because they were too old. But then we'll get into that with Sol, who everybody was rooting for. Well, for the most part, the whole series. Probably my favourite character, and then we'll discuss what happened later. Yeah, so I thought so. Yeah, that was I think that was my biggest problem with episode 7. I just didn't understand knowing what happened properly, what went down on Brendok. I don't understand. I'm not saying Torben shouldn't have had any guilt because again, he definitely played his part and 100% he should have felt some guilt. But for him to kill himself over that, I just think it's a bit. If anything,
Extreme.
yeah. If anything, Sol should have been the one that would have done something like that because he's the one that's had the guilt for 16 years. He's had a lot of guilt, which we'll get into.
He's the one that made the tough choice.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll get into that. So, good segue. So, yeah, so just after everyone died, we see the scene again where Osha and May are on the bridge and it collapses and he's kind of using the force, holding them both up so they don't fall and die. And then, in the end, obviously we saw May ends up falling and presumed dead. What did you think of that scene? Because initially I thought, oh, did he stop? He was using the force, and then did he just like kind of stop and thought, oh well, I've got a connection with Osha, so I'm gonna save her. Forget me, don't care about her. That was my initial thought, but then a few minutes later I was like, no, he didn't. He tried to save them both, but then he got tired, and in the end he could only save Osha, and he did.
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah, what your thoughts were on that?
That was my thought process. My thought process was he was trying to save both of them at the same time because he stopped them both, didn't he? And you could see him like he was struggling. He was holding on. He was struggling. He was like, ugh. And then he literally drops. I think May was on the left and Osha's on the right, and then he literally just drops May, doesn't he? So then he uses both his hands to try and use the force to keep Osha up, but then he can't even hold her up, and she ends up like falling. So clearly, gravity's stronger than the force. But the reason why I think that he chose Osha slightly differs from your opinion. So the reason why I think he chose Osha over May is because what Mother Anastasia says to him when she says, I was going to let Osha go with you. So I think if he had saved May would have refused to go with them, whereas Osha was more willing to. And I think that sentence that she says is the reason why he stops saving May and he goes for Osha.
Yeah.
I think he tried to save them both, but I think the reason why, when it comes to the decision of who to save, that was the pinnacle. That was the thing that kind of swung him over.
But it's interesting because they're the same person. So that's a good point. Actually, I don't understand why he's got a particular connection. I thought, well, with Osha. Surely it'd be equal with Osha, maybe it's the same person, just split into two.
Yeah, but then now you're opening up a whole can of worms on like nature and nurture, because Mother Anastasia was probably closer to Osha, and the other mother, whatever her name, Mother Coral, she was probably closer to May, perhaps.
Yeah, I tend to agree, but do you not think there was a dyad in the Force between Osha and Sol? I still think it was, all the way through.
No.
And that's why he wanted her as an apprentice. Because
Indara
made a comment on the ship just before they went back to their place, before it all kicked off. I can't remember, I'm going to paraphrase here, but Indara says something to Sol. She's like, they were talking about like him having an apprentice. It's been like a few years, and like this is the reason why you've not got an apprentice kind of thing, because you let the emotions get to you and blah blah blah. But is that not what happens though when you've got a connection with a particular like Padawan? Like you're gonna have that connection, so you're gonna have like strong feelings, let's say. So I kind of fell for him in that, but then I think he let his emotions get the better of him, and he was so desperate for a Padawan, because he hadn't had one up until that point. He was only a Jedi 16 years prior to present day, so he thought Osha's the one. But then Endara spoke to the Order. They're too old anyway, so the answer's no. But then he was kind of still like, no, I need to train. Okay, do you know what I mean? Like, he became a little bit infatuated. which I understand because I felt for him in the sense that he really wanted a Padawan. Like obviously every Jedi does and has eventually, but he just hadn't found or stolen his yet. And there was definitely some kind of connection between him and Osha. 1,000,000%.
Do you not think it was the guilt though? Do you not think it was just purely guilt based? Like the reason why he chose her was because he felt guilty of what happened, and she was willing to go.
Well, no, because initially he says, "I need to save them both because of what the witches are doing to the kids." So he actually wanted to take them both. I'm not saying they both would have been his Padawan, but he actually wanted to rescue them both because he said he said, paraphrasing again, I don't like the sound of what's going on with their mother, so we need to rescue them. Yeah. So he actually wanted them both, but I'm not sure if it was both for him. Definitely Osha for sure. That's my interpretation. Like that's why I mentioned last week before. Is there some kind of dyad in the Force like there was between Kylo and Rey in the sequels? They had a connection.
I think maybe with Chimera and Osha, but not with Sol and Osha.
Well, yeah, maybe Chimera and Osha. We'll get into that. But first, quickly going back to Mother Anastasia, did you pick up on the line? I think just before she died, before she tapped into abilities, before when they were talking when Sol and Tobin first got there. She said the line, "Someday those noble intentions you all have will destroy every Jedi in the galaxy." I was like, "Ooh, that is a great line."
Mm-hmm.
So my initial thought was, "Oh my god, could she see into the future? Does she like literally what she said is literally what happened like in the next 100 years?"
It's almost like they've made the films like first.
Yeah. So I thought that was a nice touch. I thought that was a really good line from her.
Yeah, I liked it. It's a nice little touch on the future.
Another one as well I picked up on. Spoke about this the other day. So when they're in the campfire and Indara was talking, and she mentioned something about some kind of hyperspace disaster, which again is another Legends EU reference from the books. So the Great Hyperspace Disaster is the actual thing. It's when a ship was in hyperspace, and then I can't remember what the pirates were called. It's in one of the High Republic books from like 3 years ago. These set of pirates sabotaged in the hyperspace with the ship, and they ended up colliding with something, and then it blew up and it affected loads of planets. Apparently, like blew parts of planets up or blew planets up. I'm like, what? How did that even? Yeah, I don't even know. I've not read the books, but I thought that was cool how she got a bit of a more Legends lore into that, which is
cool. Yeah.
So yeah, I like that.
I like how she brought a lot of Legends. Like she's done a lot for the Legends stuff. I like that. Yeah, I'm happy about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably been one of, if not the strongest point of the whole series. The whole lore. I don't think there hasn't been any other live action series that has given us that much lore. I think the most so far is probably Ahsoka, maybe. But this series for sure, we've had so much lore. It's been really good.
Are you on about live action series?
Yes. So yeah, that was cool. Anything else before we break down the finale? I think I've got one last point.
There's one last point, that you told me. I was like, oh damn.
What was it? It wasn't that then. I've got 2 last points then. What was it?
Well, the last one's Mother Anastasia. When she taps into abilities and vanishes. She's still alive. She's not dead. Not Anastasia. Coral. Mother Coral.
I said she got stabbed. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we watched her die, yeah. Mother Coral. Yeah, she survives.
Yeah, we didn't see her in episode 8, but apparently she is alive, as confirmed by Lizzie Headland, the creator. She did an interview with Collider, I think it was, a few days ago, and she says that this was just before the finale came out, a day or two before, and she's confirmed that Coral is not dead. So maybe we'll see her again. Who knows? But yeah, that was. I didn't think she was because she just disappeared, but yeah, she is confirmed to be alive, very much still. But yeah, I think the last thing I wanted to bring up was Indara. So she ended up getting off the ship, saving Sol and Torben from Kalnaka because Kalnaka was just too much for them. Because I think he was being controlled though, wasn't he, by Coral?
Mm-hmm.
Which was pretty cool. And yeah, Indara jumps on him and then kind of uses the Force to unpossess him, and ended up killing all the witches inside the building. And I'm like, interesting. How did Indara manage to do that? I didn't get that bit, but I thought that was interesting.
I didn't know if she killed them or just knocked them all out.
I've read the synopsis on Wikipedia. She killed them up. They're dead.
Yeah, but they are dead because they would have burned alive. But they would have burned regardless if they were dead or alive.
No, but apparently they were dead before the whole place blew up and sat there. According to the synopsis on Wiki, it said the witches, Indara saved Karnaka and killed the witches at the same time. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what Wikipedia says. So.
I don't believe that for a second.
You know, you think they were just knocked out? Because how could have Indara? I don't know how she would have done that.
How could she kill them all? Like, if she was that powerful, she definitely would have been able to beat Osha. I mean, May.
Yeah.
In episode 1.
That's true. Oh yeah, sorry. Another last point. Last point. I thought it was cool, the scene where Torbjorn was being possessed by Anastasia, and we actually see what happened when she originally possessed him in what we saw in episode 3. Do you remember that scene? Where he's possessed, and then it's like he's in like a nightmare, and then all of a sudden he turns up and she's like walking around and speaking to him. I thought that was really cool. We've never seen that kind of a Force before, so I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that was cool. I liked it.
Yeah. But yeah, that was episode 7, and I thought it was pretty good, to be honest. There was a few things again I didn't understand. The Torbjorn thing, which I didn't get, because he did a bit, but he didn't kill anybody, and he was still a kid at the time, wasn't he? So, come on, quite a bit of slack. But yeah, I don't know why he had so much guilt and ended up killing himself. But yeah, anyway, R.I.P. Any other final thoughts on episode 7?
No, I think it was okay. I think
okay.
It was okay. Like I said, I still agree with my first opinion about the episode. It was, out of all the episodes, it's definitely one of the weaker ones for me. I enjoyed it. It wasn't the weakest. I enjoyed it, but it didn't have any, like, my expectations of what happened were supposed to be a lot worse than what I'd seen, which is kind of what let it down for me.
Yeah.
My own expectations.
Sorry, I'm just reading something now. So, Leslie Headland did actually confirm that Osha and May are not the Virgins in the Force. Which means their creation, up until episode 8, had been revealed. And it isn't similar to Anakin's. So Anakin was created by the Force, right?
Right.
The twins, quote unquote, they were created by the witches using the Force. So 2 different things. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So they're not the same. So that was interesting. So yeah, right, the finale. We're back in present day. I want to talk about the first new character that we see 10 minutes in first. It's not a cameo. We see him lurking in the shadows. And we thought it was going to be Tenebris. We thought it might be a new character. But it was neither of them. It was the one and only Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Or should we renamed Darth Plagueis the Sneaky?
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. That shocked me a little bit, to be honest, because I genuinely thought it was going to be either Tenebrous or a new character. But turns out that in this time period, Plagueis is in his 30s, I believe. So he was definitely around, but I just didn't think it'd be him. I thought it would be his master, Tenebrous. But yeah, obviously we only see a couple of seconds of him in the whole episode. It was just that scene lurking in the shadows, coming out of a cave, as Osha and as May and as Osha and Kaime flew off in the ship. What did you think of that scene? And secondly, is he the one that had something to do with how the twins, quote unquote, were created? Give me your thoughts.
So, no, I don't think he's the reason why the twins are created.
Okay, cool.
I think he learns how to create, well, the whole thing about him like staying alive, his immortality. I think he learns it through Osha and May. I think we'll probably get more on that at some point, but I think that's how he learns, how he gets his knowledge, how he becomes Plagueis the Wise. What did I think of him appearing? Yeah, this whole thing with birthdays like has people in a tumble, but for me, like if he's 30 now, then how old is he supposed to be when he dies? And how old was he supposed to be when he did he ever actually? Because this is one question I've always asked: did he actually ever learn how to keep himself alive? Like, did he actually ever do it? Because even though Palpatine says, like, have you ever heard the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise? And he goes and speaks to Anakin about how he became immortal and learned how to keep people alive or keep himself alive, right? There's no proof to say he actually did it. It's just a tale. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, but we know Palpatine killed him.
We know Palpatine kills him, yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, but I mean, like, did he ever actually succeed with keeping himself alive for so long? Like, he might have known how to do it, but
I'm sure I've read this. I don't think he did. No.
And that's my point. Like, I don't think he ever did. And I'm thinking, like, it's all right saying you can do it, but if you've never done it, then how do you know?
Yeah.
So unless he has the knowledge of the Virgins, which is what I think will come in time, because Palpatine said he inherited that, didn't he? He said he learned himself, and that's why he kills him. But then he doesn't, because he dies, and he comes back because he's a clone.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
so it might all just be false. Maybe he's just called Darth Plagueis the Liar. Darth Plagueis the Tea Leaf. No wait, a tea leaf's a thief.
Can't be saying that, can you? Is that not a racial slur? Is that not derogatory towards a certain
essentially?
Anyway, short heritage. Anyway,
a tea leaf's a thief. I got it wrong, but I meant liar. But
yeah, he might be a thief as well.
He stole the knowledge.
Yeah, just quickly, do you remember I've written it down actually. The scene between Sol and Kaime in episode 5, just after Kaime killed Yord, and Osha was watching. Kaime says, "Osha, this is your master. Do you trust him, even after everything he did to you?" And then Sol says, "His mind is twisted by darkness." And then Kaime says, "I've accepted my darkness. What have you done with yours?" That is like, that's now knowing what happened, and from episode 7 onwards, that dialogue now is like, oh, brilliant. Love that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think hearing it sounds great because now we know, but that's how he kind of lived within, hid his darkness, like this lie, he kind of hid it away. But then he found out that May was alive, so
Yeah.
unless it was the fact that he killed the mother, don't know.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring that. I thought that was really good. Also, sorry, just quickly, in episode 7, just before Kalanaka got into it with Torben and Sol, or maybe just after, there was a shot on Sol, and I heard the Kylo Ren theme. Did you hear it?
No.
Happened again.
But I never hear it.
Thought you've got good hearing.
I've got good hearing, but I don't hear the music. It just gives me the feels.
It happened again, but it was just a shot on Sol. Obviously, the first time it happened, episode 5, it was a shot on Kenyon as he found Osho unconscious. Do you remember?
Was it Sol? Was it Kalnaka?
It was the shot on Sol. In episode 7, I heard it again. Definitely. So, going on to episode 8, I'm still can't work out why they've done that, because it was deliberate. That's been confirmed by Leslie.
No idea.
Yeah, because we still think he could be a Sith, kind of. Obviously, the whole Plagueis thing, and it's like, why has this Kylo Ren theme been played more than once now? Like, because obviously we thought, he's obviously a disciple of the Ren. He's Ren. He's the first. It's an origin story. It's going to be an origin story of him, and it could still be that. But then I don't know if that makes sense now. But then they've deliberately played Kylo Ren's theme twice, so that's part of me still thinks no, he has to be in the original Knight of Ren, because why would he play that theme more than once? It doesn't make sense to do it once. Never mind twice. Unless they're just doing it to like try and like trick fans into thinking, is this a Knight of Ren origin story? But it doesn't make sense.
No, I don't know why.
No,
I've no idea why they played it a second time. The first time I can understand why, or I could at least find some idea as to why. I can put something in that makes sense for me. But in terms of the soul thing, I can't understand why they'd play it there.
Yeah. Anyway, what did you think of the initial duel between Sol and Kaime? Because it was back on Brendok, scene of the crime again, during the daytime. What did you think of that duel? I thought it was, again, brilliant.
It was sick. I think it was
so good.
One of the best ones I've seen.
Yeah. The part where, they're on that bridge, and then Sol jumps off, and Kaime jumps off.
And it just like floats down.
It's in like slow motion. I thought that is.
That wasn't in slow motion.
It was.
I think he just used the Force to slow his fall.
Well, it was slow motion as we were watching it. Anyway, I thought that was a really good homage to. I thought it paid a really good homage to Crouching Tiger from back in the day, and The Matrix. I thought, loved that. Thought it was sick. Again, the choreography's been brilliant throughout. Whoever they use for this needs to be in like every Star Wars film and series going forward, because I wish the choreography in the sequels would have been like that, because it's top notch.
It is. I think hands down, even people that probably don't like the series, I think they can't argue with the fact that the choreography has been fantastic.
Yeah. If anything, it's again that's been one of the best things about the show. It might be the best thing. Top 2, top 3.
I love the fact that when people fight with the Force, though, like it was something that stood out for me when I watched it in the Obi-Wan series. Like, I remember watching it thinking, I want to make something that I can do fight scenes with that type of fighting. Just the fact that you can just stop things in mid-air, it just, oh God, it blows my mind. I think it looks so good. And then they just obviously they've put it in this and they've carried it on, and it works so well.
Yeah,
so well.
What do you think of the transition? Because obviously then at that point, Osha and May found each other, so they started fighting. Like you said before, it was very much even neck and neck. They were doing like the same moves to each other. And what did you think of the transition between those two and Chimera and Soul? So they were fighting, and they both kicked each other like that, and then it transitioned into Sol and Chimera crossing lightsabers like that. I thought that was
the
a
match
great
cut.
Yeah, it was a really good transition. I thought it was sick.
Yeah, it was. It's nice. It's a technique used in film, and I've seen it, but I'm seeing that a lot more now in stuff than I have done. Like I've seen it in the past used, but I feel like I'm seeing it a lot more now than I have done.
Really?
So I don't know if it's like a trend, like a trendy shot that they're kind of pushing back into filmmaking. But yeah, I'm starting to see it.
Yeah.
But it was sick. I loved it actually. I loved that shot.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Just before we get into what happened to Sol, breaks my heart. Right, in a few moments. I'm alright. The scene where the scene with, we finally see the scene from the trailer where Sol's in the ship and he's chasing after Osha. No, he's chasing after May. And then they go into that little thing in space. I thought that was cool. What do you think of that scene?
Oh my God, something's just dawned on me with that scene. The
Basil.
whole time, Basil, the whole time I was like, why has Basil done that? Why is he stopped? Why is he sabotaged the ship?
Yes.
So that, it's just dawned on me now. Why?
I know why. I think I know.
They're the same person.
What do you mean?
Osha and May are the same person.
Right.
Basil won't know any difference. He just knows that's who they are. He just knows they're the same person.
Yeah, but he knows they're two different people. He doesn't know.
No, they're not.
He doesn't.
How do you know that? He didn't know that.
Does he not?
Well, I don't know, but I can't find any other reason why he would sabotage the ship. That one just makes sense to me.
Yeah, I've been thinking, and I thought he did it because he saw Sol. You know that little screen, the target. He saw Sol like aim, and he thought, "Oh, is he going to shoot and kill her?" Maybe he did think that was. Maybe you're right, because then he thought, "Oh, he sabotaged the ship because he thought, oh no, he's going to shoot her, he's going to kill her," and he thought, "Oh, that's my master, or that's my friend, or whatever. I don't want Sol to kill her." But then again, there's no relationship between Basil and Osha and May. They don't.
Yeah, but she was close with Yard, and Yard spoke to him. So if he mistakes Osha and May, because he won't know the difference.
That's why I did it then. Because I don't think he's seen them both at the same time, has he? So you've got a point. You're right. I think you've cracked it.
And also, we don't know if he speaks whatever language they speak, English.
I can't
Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't know if he speaks that because he only speaks to Yard, because Yard's the only one that can speak to him. So we don't even know if he can understand.
Yeah.
I can't remember if he can understand Yard when Yard speaks, or does Yard speak to him in his own language?
Yeah, he does. Yard can speak his language. It's not sure.
Yard can speak his, but can he speak Yard, like English?
No, Basil can only speak his language.
Yeah, but can he understand English, is what I mean?
I don't
like Jabba. Do you know what I mean? Jabba could understand every language, but only speaks his own.
That's true. No, I think Basil could understand his language. That's why Yord had to speak to him. Because...
So then he wouldn't even understand that he's called May. He wouldn't even understand that May's May, because he would just think that May's Osha.
But then, when he was used as a tracker, because that's what he is, he's a tracker. He's like their little sat-nav. Do you not think Yord would have said to him, "Look, we're trying to find this girl. She's actually a twin of the person you stood with now"? Do you not think that would have been said?
No.
Really?
I don't know.
Maybe not.
Because I think you have to think of him like he's like a hound, isn't he? He's like a dog, like a
it's
pet.
like a dog.
Sniff this. Where is it? Show me where it is.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't know how smart he is. Apart from that, like, can he actually have a conversation? But again, you all can speak his language. I thought it's not Shriwook. Shriwook's
Wookiee.
Yeah, Wookiee language. Yeah, I've always remembered that. But yeah, that scene got me. I thought, oh, that was interesting. Why did he do that? I know he's like a silly little character, but I didn't get that. But yeah, I think he nailed it there. To be fair,
I hope so. Because I can't find any other explanation as to why.
So, Sol, his time was up.
No, yeah, it had to happen, didn't it? We said it from the start. He was never going to survive. He couldn't survive.
I thought he was going to be the only one to survive.
He couldn't. There's no way.
Absolutely gutted they've killed him off. I loved how it happened. I loved it. I didn't think May was going to do it. Sorry, Osha was going to do it. Obviously, Sol admits to her in front of everyone, kind of, yes, I killed your mum. I thought it was the right thing to do. She just wasn't interested in any explanations, and basically she just killed him with the Force. She took his lightsaber. I love the scene where you can see the crystal bleed from blue to red.
Yeah.
Her lightsaber, his lightsaber then turns from blue to red, and then she points it at Akaime. Oh, love that scene. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, loved it. That, and I love when she ignites it and you see it going from blue to, and it's like,
yeah, that was so.
I loved it. I thought it was, yeah. I think it's like the second time we've seen the kyber crystal be changed. Obviously, we first see it in Jedi Survivor, but he bleeds the crystal in his hand. Can't remember his name now. But you know, the guy with the one arm from the Old Republic. Not Old Republic, the High Republic era.
I know who you mean, but I can't remember his name.
Can't remember his name. So he gets it done in his hand, and then he's holding it up, and then it bleeds, and then he puts it into his lightsaber, puts it together, and then he ignites it, and it's instantly red. Whereas we see the transition of the crystal literally as it ignites, like it's bleeding, and it just gets I thought that was sick. I think that's like a really nice visual transition from her. As much as her outfit changes throughout, and you see it going from light to dark, and in this final episode she's wearing the full black suit. I like how that was another visual transition of how she changes from good being blue to red being the Sith.
Yeah.
Well, the dark side of the Force, not so much the Sith, because there's lots of dark users that have red lightsabers. Like, we know this.
Correct. Not every red lightsaber user is a Sith. Or
however,
or a Ren.
Just on that point though, there is law, I think it's, that says if you have your own lightsaber and you bleed your own lightsaber, like that dude from Jedi Survivor, once it bleeds, if it's your own lightsaber, technically, you're just like a dark side user. But if you kill somebody, take their lightsaber, bleed it, then that's your initiation into to being a Sith, because that's what Vader did. That's exactly what Osha does. She takes Sol's lightsaber, kills him, and bleeds the lightsaber.
Yeah, and in order to do that as well, she needed to have, what was it? She needs to be angry.
It's like hate, innit?
Fearful.
Pure hate.
Hate. There's 4 things. Remember Yoda saying it in the prequels. Remember?
No, but he's on about the path to the dark side. He says anger. He's like, fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to the dark side.
Well, is that
something
not
like
what
that.
Has to happen for someone to be able to bleed their lightsaber red? Because she's now. No, she's not a Sith, but she's a Dark Force user now.
I don't think. Yeah, in a sense, I guess so. I think you have to hate to be able to bleed the crystal for sure.
Because people are saying online, I've read it recently. Oh well, why didn't Anakin's lightsaber turn from blue to red straight away as soon as he killed all the younglings in Order 66 and before he fought Obi-Wan Kenobi? Why wasn't his? Why didn't his lightsaber change? But I think it's something to do because he didn't look at the crystal itself. she did, kind of thing. I'm not sure about that, to be honest. What are your thoughts around that? I kind of get it because he killed loads of people as soon as he turned, but his lightsaber didn't change. Like,
I know, but I think it's down to like the emotion you feel in that moment.
Yeah. And I think he was still conflicted. Even though he'd killed a load of younglings and he was about to fight Obi-Wan, she wasn't conflicted. She'd like completely like, right, killing this guy and I'm turning this way. Where Anakin was still conflicted when he kind of turned. It wasn't like fully to the dark side. Because even after he fought with Obi-Wan and he turned into Vader, at the end of the Revenge of the Sith, he says, "Where's Padme? Is she okay?" And then when Palpatine says, "Well, you idiot, you actually killed her.
In your anger, you killed her."
Yeah, and then he goes, "No!" That's when I think he fully like transitioned to the dark side. So, yeah, that's a good point. But again, you've got some numpties online that don't fully understand the lore and saying, "Oh, well, why did Anakin's lightsaber change?" And they broke canon again. And what would George thinking? Like, come on, do your research before you tweet. Come on, please.
George would think,
what would
I'm glad I sold this franchise for billions of pounds.
I sold this franchise for $4 billion over 10 years ago. I've not once
$1 billion
back. Like, who doesn't even care if canon's broken?
No.
He probably, regardless if canon broken or not, which he hasn't, I don't think he cares.
I think that though is a good observation. The fact that it's like the lights, Anakin's doesn't change. I think that's a good observation. But you have to think, like, things change with the times. You could argue the same point with what happens in Jedi Survivor, but no one brought that up.
Oh, that's because everyone loved it though. Because a lot of fans, or quite a few fans, haven't loved or liked this show. Then they start with the,
especially all the bots that voted on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, that's
all those bots. They hated it.
Ridiculous. Anyway, so that happens. Saul dies. I'm so gutted about that, because I think they're going to do a season 2, at least another season. We'll get into that probably next week. We'll touch on we'll kind of review the whole series as a whole next week, as well as kind of discussing a possible season 2. But yeah, I think they will do a season 2, so that's why I'm kind of surprised that they killed Saul off, because for me, he is the standout character. Like, I love him. He was brilliant. I can't believe they killed him.
I can. I think it's based around story. Like, characters make the stories, but the story still carries on.
I know, and there's still a lot they can do. Again, we'll touch on that next week, but I was still surprised. I was gutted. I thought, no, why?
I was surprised. I thought she might have stopped herself. I actually thought she might stop, but no.
If anything, I thought if he does die, it's probably going to be from Kaimi. For some reason, I didn't expect the twins to kill him, especially Osha. But then we said last week that they kind of switched roles, and we were like, don't think they have, don't think they will. They did. Osha's now the bad one, and May's the good one. And we'll get onto that. So we see for the first time, Kaimi erased her memory, May's memory. And I think he only did that because Osha agreed to be his apprentice and train with him. Otherwise, I think Kaimi would have killed her. Because he thought actually that May was going to be the one, his apprentice. Have I got that right?
You think he would have killed Osha?
Sorry?
You think he would have killed Osha?
No, I thought Kaimi was going to kill May. And then Osha said, no, don't kill her. Erase her memory. So the Jedi can't get anything from her, and I will train with you, and I will be your apprentice. And he thought, right, okay, that's sweet. That's my interpretation. Did you think anything different, or what?
I thought he was going to take both of them originally. That's what I thought. I thought he was going to take both of them with him. But I think May obviously didn't want to go. I think she had transitioned from the dark side to the good side.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it happened.
Well, I think May was hoping she was going to run off with Osha and just kind of have nothing to do with the Jedi or the Sith or Chimera or whatever. But then Osha was like, my intuition was
like,
yeah, Osha was thinking, I'm not sure that can happen, so I'm probably going to have to go with Chimera. And obviously Chimera did what he did, and then they ran off, and then the Jedi eventually found Sol. We'll get onto that, and they found Osha. No, they found May, and then Venestra speaks to May later on near the end. She's got like no recollection of anything, which, you know what? Up until at the finale, Venestra was doing my head in. Didn't like her as a character at all.
I still don't like her.
Even though she didn't have much.
She's like arrogant.
Much dialogue. Yeah, she's a leader and like. But I thought she was brilliant in this episode. Probably because they used her more than ever. There was more dialogue from it, but I just thought the scenes that she was in, I thought she was great. I genuinely thought Venestra was great, and I thought, where's this been all season? Like,
I think it's because we see more of a character.
Yeah, they underused her slightly for me.
I don't know if they did. I don't think they underused her because she wasn't. Yeah, even though they introduced her, this story wasn't about her. This story was about Osha, May, and Sol.
Well, you say that. So, Venestra finds Sol, and then we see Chimera at the top, lurking down, looking at her, and then obviously later on we find out that he was in fact her former pupil. And I thought at that moment in time, Chimera was going to come down and kill her. But you made a good point the other day. You told me, well, hang on a minute. Sol chops his lightsaber in half. He's got no lightsaber.
Yeah. So
he wouldn't have killed her because she would have just probably whipped him again. Which is, I think that scar on his back is definitely from her. 100%.
It must be, yeah. It must be.
Because he was a former pupil. So that is. So really, you say the Acolyte wasn't really about Venestra, but all along, the villain was her former pupil. So
is he the Acolyte?
Have a bigger role in season 2, which we'll get onto for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we just get onto the whole framing Sol?
I know, mad that. But she hears like everything, doesn't she, around her? Or she uses that dude. He comes in, he can sense like things that have happened.
Yeah, so Osha kills Sol. Just before he does, Sol was like, look, I thought it was the right thing to do. Yes, I killed your mum, and then obviously she used the Force to kill her. And then Venestra later finds Sol as they went, and then she says, I'm sorry, my friend. And then she tells everybody back in Coruscant, yeah, Sol had turned to the dark side or something like that. Paraphrasing again. He turned rogue. He's the one that's been responsible for all the killings and whatnot. He was a good friend, he was a good Jedi, but unfortunately he turned. And then they all just kind of like accepted it, which now think about doesn't actually make sense, because why would he just randomly turn rogue? That never really got explained, which we'll get into in a moment. And then she speaks to May. May practically doesn't know where she is, who she is, blah blah blah. So that's why I think season 2 is going to be Venestra and May trying to find Chimera and Osha. For me now, those are the 4 main characters again. Venestra has to be one of the main characters again in season 2. What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's something that we can look into next week for sure.
We will, but what do you think of the whole... She was telling everybody at Coruscant, oh yeah, Sol was a good guy, was a good friend, but yeah, he turned rogue and he was the one responsible. Like, think about now, it didn't really make sense because how, like, she didn't really give an explanation. They didn't really ask, like, how did he turn, like.
It doesn't. I don't think it mattered. I think it's just the fact that they had to. The whole episode started with her having to find someone to blame, so that the political side of things, the council, what do you call them, with all the different races, what do you call it? You know, that Palpatine stands up. He's the Chancellor, isn't he?
The
And he stands up and the Senate. That's it, yeah. So that they don't turn against the Jedi, basically, and say, like, take all the funding off them and stop them from having all the rights that they've got and this control over the galaxy. So she had to find someone to blame, hence why she did what she did. But it's funny because no one wanted to tell her about it because they were scared that whatever happened, they would be punished, right? And then, because everything happened the way it did, she then becomes corrupt. Like, it's all corrupt. Yeah. Like, the whole Jedi Order's all corrupt, man.
Saul lied all this time to Osha and said that may start defying her code, everybody, which technically she did, but it wasn't obviously quite how it went down. And then Indara says to Saul in the end, right, you're gonna lie. Because he was wanting to come clean.
Yeah.
Indara, as the leader of those four, was like, no, we're going to go with this story, and this is how it's going to be.
Yeah. Otherwise, they won't train her, and then she'll die or whatever. They'll just give her up and whatnot. And then that's what basically that's
trained her anyway,
what.
Like
because he lied.
Yeah.
So he was able to train her because he lied. But then you've got the Venestra. Her lie is about protecting the Jedi's. She lies to protect the Jedi Order, to keep them in power. So she frames Saul. That's why she apologizes to him and says, "Sorry, my friend."
Yeah. You know? That was really sad, that scene. And then she sets him on fire and, like, he floats away in like a little boat.
Like Qui-Gon Jinn, which you've not seen.
Yeah. That was really sad. Really sad. That.
I don't know the difference, right? Why is that some Jedi's when they die, right? Like Ben Kenobi, when he gets sliced in half, he just falls, right? There's no body, he just disappears. Yeah. When Qui-Gon Jinn died, he was set on fire, right?
No, but when he died, he didn't disappear. Obi-Wan is the only one that's been hit by a lightsaber and disappeared. That still doesn't make sense. But I think they did.
Luke disappears.
Yes, he does. Right.
I'm assuming Yoda disappears.
Yeah, he did. You make a good point.
So, why is it those disappear, but then some Jedi's don't? Like Qui-Gon Jinn doesn't. If Jedi in Jedi Survivor, I mean that you know, I can't remember her name. She gets set on fire. Like all of them do. They all get set on fire on a pyre.
Just die different. Right. Yeah, make a good point. I was gonna say, Obi-Wan and Yoda, when they died, they disappeared. And I'm thinking George Lucas did that because initially, the first Star Wars, A New Hope was just Star Wars, wasn't it? It wasn't until a couple of years later where he was going to make a trilogy from it. So
yeah, but it's breaking canon. He's breaking canon. George Lucas would be disappointed with himself.
What have you done? So then he matched how Obi-Wan died with Yoda by disappearing in Return of the Jedi. And then Obi-Wan died doing the same thing. So he force projected himself against Kylo Ren in The Last Jedi, episode 8, sorry. So he died that way. But then why has no other Jedi died that way? You're right.
Even Vader didn't disappear.
They didn't disappear. Qui-Gon didn't disappear.
Because I was thinking maybe it's because you're Force ghosts, but it can't be because Qui-Gon Jinn becomes a Force ghost. I think he was like one of the first ones to do it.
Anakin becomes a Force ghost. Yoda becomes a Force ghost.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan becomes a Force ghost. They all become Force ghosts in the end. But, yeah, you know what? Never thought about that, you know. Never thought about that. Let us know in the comments what you think. Get in touch with us. If you've got any answers, any thoughts,
please tell me.
Let us know. I actually don't. I actually don't know. I've never thought of that before.
Mm.
So going back to the finale, so Vanessa frames Sol, and she definitely does feel guilty about that because I think she definitely did. Sol was a friend, and yeah, she did feel guilty, but she thought the Jedi can't end. But then she also knows at the same time her former pupil is the one really that is responsible. But she doesn't know whether he's a Sith. Like, there's no mention of Sith. Like, it's only been mentioned once, and that was in Episode 5 by Kaimi. You might call me.
You would call me.
But he didn't say I am a Sith. So that's very much still intriguing. So that's interesting. And then just before I touch on it was like an end credit scene, really, wasn't it? So the last shot was Osha and Kaimi back on that Cortosis planet. I thought that was a really nice shot. What do you think of that? I thought that was going to...
Yeah, it was lovely. So romantic.
Yeah, they're definitely going to fall in love. It's all going to go wrong. Anyway.
But if they were Jedis, they couldn't, you see.
But Sith can. No, so... Yeah, I thought that was a nice shot. And I thought it was going to end because the music started playing and then the scene got darker. Then it stopped. And then it carried on. And then what we saw then was like kind of like a mid-credit, post-credit scene. So we see Vanessa walk in. She's reporting into someone, and she says, "Master, we need to talk." And then a little green fella turns up at the end.
Oh, a little green frog.
I know.
His white hair.
It's not Baby Yoda. It's the one and only Master Yoda. Puppet version. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
I think it probably... don't know. Because it's before the prequels. Then again, episode what? In Phantom Menace, he was a puppet, wasn't he?
He was. It was horrendous. It was a horrendous looking puppet. But he was a puppet in the original trilogy, and he looked better.
I know. I don't understand what they did there.
He didn't age well back in time.
Yeah, didn't age. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Yoda turns up, and then it ends, and I was like, "What? Didn't see that coming." I know we kind of touched on it weeks and weeks ago. Is there gonna be like more cameos? And then we saw like Ki-Adi-Mundi, and then I'm sure we mentioned at some point Yoda. And then we thought, yeah, Yoda's around, but yeah, I don't think he's gonna be in it. Like, he's good. And then last shot of the finale, boom, he's there. What are your thoughts?
Yeah.
Did that surprise you? Or...
No, it was nice. It was a nice little cameo, but I wasn't surprised. I wasn't like, oh my god, it's Yoda. Oh no, it's gonna change everything. It was the end. Like, it just makes me think that there's something more, you know? What did she want to tell him? That's the question.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think we're gonna see Yoda in season 2 if it does happen. I think that we might not even see the conversation between them. I've got a feeling she's gonna not tell him the whole truth, or maybe she will tell him the whole truth, and because he's the boss, he's gonna be like, right, just keep going with this line. No one's gonna find out. And then in a fantasy 100 years later, Ki-Adi-Mundi is gonna say, the Sith haven't been around for millennia. That's how we're going to get away with it, so fans can't complain. Yeah, I'm not sure. What do you think?
Nah, I don't think she's going to tell him. I think she's gonna
lie to him.
Tell him something. It's going to be like white lies, twisted truth. Don't think she's going to come clean. She might say that she felt like her ex-pupil was there or whatever, but I don't think she's going to... Yeah, she might talk about the Virgins. I don't think she's going to say that much, to be honest.
Now I'm thinking, if she's not going to tell him the whole truth, how it went down, then why would you wouldn't speak to him at all? Unless he just kind of wants like advice, and I don't know.
Maybe. We don't know. Yeah. No idea, man. I just, yeah. I think that she's not going to tell him the full truth. And then that way, anyone that knows about Kaimi being a dark user, because he's not confirmed to be a Sith, but a dark user, is already dead. May doesn't remember, but we know from KOTOR that memories can come back. So,
yeah,
and I think we see a slight little bit of that when she starts talking about, well, I remember the fire, and I had a sister, and then like she starts slowly getting there.
That was interesting. Yeah, I think we're gonna see season 2. I do, and I think May's memory is gonna come back slowly but surely each week.
Yeah,
and then I think Ben Estra's gonna kill Kaine at the end.
But he's not confirmed to be a Sith, so we don't know, and that's my point. She's not gonna. I don't think she will say anything because she doesn't really know. She just sensed something familiar, hence why Soph said the same thing.
She's gonna go after him now, unless she gets another team to go after him. But they all died the last time, so that's why I think she's gonna be. If he does come back for season 2, that's why I think she's gonna be the main character, one of the main characters, because her team died. Trying to work out this person, why she's killing all these Jedi. So she now knows who that person is. So surely she's going to go after him herself with May.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, any other final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, mate. My only final thought is when I'm going to get in bed. I'm so tired. I've got work. Oh,
do you not like my company?
Yeah, but I also know that I like my sleep, so I'm ready for work tomorrow.
Yeah, you're right. All right, cool. We'll wrap it up there. I think again we're gonna touch on. Well, we'll review the whole series as a whole next week, and we'll go into more detail about season 2 because yes, season 2 is gonna happen. It will happen. Probably in the next year or 2, and then we'll leave it for next week. But yeah, do you think it's going to happen?
Well, I think if it was going to happen, it would be green lit already.
Anyway, if you are listening to us on Spotify or Apple Music, please leave us a review. 5-star review would be nice, but we won't moan at a 4-star. That's not too bad. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you are watching us on YouTube. Also, leave your comments in the section below. Get in touch with us at themancalorians@gmail.com. Send us your thoughts on the finale. Yeah, just send us your thoughts on everything really to do with the Acolyte. Let us know what you thought. Let us know if you think there's going to be season 2, and we will definitely read them and not miss anybody out. Again, all of our socials, the follows and everything at the Mancalorians. Everything's all in the link. All the links are in our descriptions below. And I think that's everything I have to say. So, thanks for joining us, and we will catch you next time.
Catch you next time.